Welcome to another episode show where I have Lilian Sue. She's the powerful publicist. You know what? She's damn good at PR. Everybody wants someone to help them with expanding their reach and their marketing. And Lilian Sue has built her life to do exactly that. I call myself the conduit, the connector. I connect people, but then you take it a step further. So Lillian, thank you so much for jumping on the couch. As a PR coach and a PR consulting, I want to know where it started. Like, what's going on? How did you get into it? And why? What's your backstory? Because somewhere in your mind was something that happened and you went, whoa, this is where I'm changing. And we know that you can change your life in any way, shape, or form. So I am handing over the mic to you. Go for it, Lillian. You are on stage.
Well, it actually started because I have a lifelong love of creative storytelling. I've been reading and writing my own stories for over 30 years, and my original career trajectory was to become a novelist. This was
Wow.
pre-self-publishing. My brother said to me, he said, Moy, if you wait for the publishers to take notice, you're going to starve. So I suggest you take this and try to do something else with it. So when I was in college, I was an English and communications major. We had a program that allowed you to get work experience before graduation. And I
Okay.
thought, hey, if I want people to hire me full time, they have to see what I can do. And in order for them to see that, I have to build a portfolio. So my business actually started with me as a social media strategist freelancer who also did copywriting. Because I said, I love storytelling. Let me parlay that love into helping entrepreneurs get their stories out there. I wasn't even thinking PR for the first 6 years of my business. This was 2000. I was a green college student, right? For the next 6 years,
That's 20 years ago almost.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
For the first 6 years, I did social media, copywriting, and then I had clients come to me and they said, hey, I love the job that you did on my website or on my print collateral. I've got some news I want to share. Do you write media releases? Is PR something you do? And at the time, I was going through a personal transition. So I was at a crossroads, right? I had just gotten engaged. We were wedding planning. We were
Uh-huh.
moving. And on top of that, I hadn't made any money in a year.
Okay. So there's the story. There's the story.
That's
There's
the
always a
crossroads.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought, hey, what do I have to lose by trying this out? Let me see if I can do it. Let me see if I enjoy it. So I started working in publicity and I fell in love with doing it for food and beverage. Indie film and television was really big. I've done a lot of short films and a TV series as well. And I loved it. And then when the pandemic happened, a lot of phenomenal entrepreneurs who they themselves were having to pivot said
Yeah.
to me, hey, I would love to work with you, but I can't afford a campaign. So I took a step back and I went, okay, I've always known that I did not get into the publicity game to run an agency like all of my other colleagues. I said, that is not for me. What else can I do when I see these patterns in a lot of clients that come to me? Patterns of fear, anxiety, a lack of knowledge. They would come to me and say, I'm here because someone else said I needed publicity and I don't even know what it is.
Can I ask
So
you
I, yeah,
can I quickly ask you the fear and anxiety,
yeah.
what is that based around, do you think?
I see a lot of the patterns surrounding things like they want guarantees on where their budgets are going to go. And they're like, can we actually guarantee them results? The other part of it is with a lot of women that I've worked with is
Uh-huh.
if I open myself up to an interview, people are going to judge me. They're going to reject me. In the case of as I've learned in my experience for a lot of women of color who are entrepreneurs, there is a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
and the cultural zeitgeist and the traditions that you have to follow, those boxes that family and our cultures put us in, say things like, you don't talk about your family history. You don't talk about who you are. When you go to
Yeah.
work, you leave all the personal stuff at
Oh
the
my
door.
God, so true. In fact, my brother told me this the other day. He goes, "Why are you airing out all your dirty laundry on social media?" And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I'm not. I am simply sharing a story that will hopefully inspire somebody to go, hey, it's okay to feel this way." Because we put ourselves in a box that's not necessary. And the generational trauma doesn't release, Billy.
Absolutely. And, as a coach, I had to go through my own journey of recognizing, like, hey, wait a minute. Why am I consistently hiding behind testimonials and positive reviews that tell people what I do? What I do doesn't matter because I'm not the only publicist out there. What matters is, what are they actually getting when they work with me? And in order to have them get to know me, I have to be willing to share my story. And as a coach, I said, if I will not walk the walk, I can't coach my clients to do the same. And the greatest impact, Kat, was the first time I had an in-person speaking engagement. And
Yeah.
I was talking to the entrepreneurs there about the power of PR, how mindset can influence the actions that you take and how you build your strategy. And then somebody asked me, like, what is your story? How did you get started in PR? And I was talking about how, I am a first generation Chinese born Canadian who had no support when it came to building my business. I've had to build it, mental health challenges, chronic illness, mobility issues, abuse, generational trauma, all of
Wow.
these things I learned to deal with in order to run my business. And I had a young woman come up to me afterwards. She was also Chinese, and she said to me, what you said about mindset really spoke to me, because she said, I'm trying to build my life. I'm trying to build the business that I want to run. And she said, how do you do that when you're still living in your trauma? She says, I'm still living at home. And I said to her, I said, I'm not a clinical counselor. I'm not a therapist. What I can tell you is what worked for me. And the
Yeah.
first step I took was I made the decision to leave. I knew that if I was going to build the business that I want to build and to share my story and amplify the stories of other women of color who are entrepreneurs, I could not do that in an environment where I was constantly being judged and disrespected for.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's funny how things have changed but not changed. And we're on social media. And at this conversation yesterday, how far have we come and have we come? And I believe the digital nomads, us that work online and offline, don't get me wrong, because I have clients that are offline as well, predominantly, really. Have we made the shift? Because my background is Greek. So the Chinese culturally, I used to work in Asia. So Asia was my region. So, and I've been to China many, many times. So culturally, Greek culture and the Chinese culture are so similar. Oh my God. So I get it. And I ask myself sometimes, how forward have we actually come? And we're like, we keep on fighting for the same thing. We're like, it's okay. Just keep on going. So the fact that one woman came up to you at that particular time, that to me is a catalyst of change. That is so cool. I would have walked away and gone, and that is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. Because there are now more than ever, people need those authentic stories. They are craving it. They want to know that they're not alone. And I always say that, people trust people.
Yeah.
People buy from people. So
Yes.
when you have someone, like, let's say, a business coach, you put them side by side with one another and they both offer exactly the same
Yeah.
things. Their website looks similar, price points are similar. The one that people are going to want to work with is the one that they know more about, that they
Yeah.
understand their story and they say, hey, this person knows what I'm going through
Yeah.
because they've been there. And if
Yeah.
you don't share your story, that is an opportunity building relationships and that making those meaningful connections that you're missing.
Yes. Look, as a sales coach, I say it all the time. My dad taught me the power of selling. And I was 5 years old going to markets, selling clothes up the road. And I used to see him talk to women, and all he did was just relationship build. So I have a question for you. Do you think, based on your expertise, you've stayed in the realms of your love? And I love that. You have pivoted, but essentially, from what your brother was saying to you when you were younger, do you know you're a rare breed? There's not many that have stayed in their love zone because you're still in your love zone. And I love that you are still in what you love. I consistently say that to my son. It doesn't matter if you're not making any money now, because when you're 45 and you hate what you're doing, you're going to go back to music because that's what you love. So just stick at it, mate. It's okay. Stick at it. So I have a question for you based on because obviously you pivot in the PR world. And you talked about authenticity, and you know what? You got to tell your story. You got to be out there. And a lot of people are still scared of being judged. But you know what? As I did a post yesterday, that person who's judging you is not my person. So I really don't care. Question for you. The cookie cutter. We know, and mind you, I got on social media to be private, right? How funny. And way back when social just started, all the platforms, forget YouTube, even YouTube, all of them, right? Because YouTube was one of the first ones. I know there was heaps beforehand, but they don't exist anymore because they were all bought out. In any event, everything was cookie cutter. You'd go and make sure it was the perfect shot, the perfect thing, the perfect, and I hate the word perfect. I think it needs to leave the vocabulary. In your view, has it pivoted? Has it changed? How should a person show up today? Like if I were to come to you and you were to say to me, you know what, Kat, I'm going to give you 3 steps or 2 steps or 1 step. I don't know. I know you have a method. Do I have to be that way? Or can I just, go out in my Aussie slang, jocks? Jocks are underwear, which obviously I'm not going to go in my undies, but you know what I mean. In me jocks, mate. Aussie slang.
It
Don't
is.
put the undies on and go out there and go, hey, mate,
Yeah.
how you doing?
There is a framework, right? There's always going to be a framework because you have to know what your story is. You have to know what your goals are. What are you actually doing with your story? Where do you want to take it? And from that, you have to know where's your audience hanging out, right? Because I see so many people still to this day. I've lost track of how many people who have never done a media interview in their lives come to me and say, I want on the Tonight Show. Can you help me?
So that's what you do as well. So you can put me on a television show. Is that what you're telling me?
It's like when they say that, I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing. If you've never done an interview in your life, what you are banking on is you're banking on a Hail Mary pass to have her content go viral enough that you will end up on that couch. Not only is having your content going viral often not sustainable and bringing in the wrong audience members, if you've never done an interview in your life, there will come a time that they will ask you a question you either can't answer or won't answer. And as an entrepreneur, that reputational damage is enough to sink you. So I tell people, it's not that it's not a good goal, but you cannot get sucked into because it's mainstream. That's the best place to be, because I would firstly ask you, A, do you have experience? Do you feel comfortable? And B, is that where your audience is going to be expecting someone like you to be? The answer is no. Then there's no point, right? So, yeah, there is a framework because you have to know your story, your goals, your audience. But how we get to where everybody wants to go is different depending on what it is that you do. I mean, I had a client because she lived out in the country. She said, can you please never get me any video interviews because my system can't handle it? I said, hey, no problem. Because if she didn't have the confidence to tell me that, I would have gone about everything the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that didn't work for her. But I've got other clients that say, hey, any opportunity you come across, I'm game. So send it to me, right? So There is a framework for a reason, but there is so many ways to get creative on how to build that strategy to get you to where you want to be, to bring in those leads, to sell more books, to bring in more clients, whatever
Yeah.
it is that you want to do. And that is the beauty of it. It's not just one thing. It's not just, hey, I got to be on TV 24/7. I got to
No,
be on as many podcasts as possible. The
no.
only way I can sell is if I speak on stage. Like there's so many different ways to do this, and what makes it beautiful and what makes it joyful and so much fun is when you lead with authenticity, empathy, and compassion. Like for
Yeah.
me, I'm out there sharing my story all the time because I want to lead by example. I've always built my business saying, if I am too scared to do this, then I have no right to coach my clients to do something that I would never do. Has always been my model from day one. I would never build a strategy for my clients or guide them to build one that I don't think would work for me.
Yeah. So tell me about the Powerful Publicity Prescription.
That is my first nonfiction PR book. It's now won 10 awards, which I'm really proud of.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. I published it last year because I had quite a few entrepreneurs in my network saying, do you have a book? Would you write a book? I would love to have a resource to flip through. And as I was doing my research, I realized that the vast majority of books in my industry were either geared towards publicists that
Oh,
were
me.
they were already in corporate and they were looking to switch to government or something. A lot of student textbooks, right, to train the
Yeah.
students to become publicists. Or they were written from the standpoint of here's how to do PR when you have a big Fortune 500 company. And I
Right.
thought to myself, it's been 18 years that I've been working with small business owners and entrepreneurs. Where's the book for them?
Yeah.
Why
So
are
you
they
made it for
getting
me.
left behind? Yeah.
I love
So
that.
I wrote this book chock full of actionable tips, practical strategies, and client success stories that I've had over the years to really outline for entrepreneurs, the startup founder, the author, the filmmaker on how to build a media strategy that works for them, also with a focus on mindset.
I
Because
love
it's
that.
not to handle it a lot of the times when you get rejected or you've sent out a pitch and you're sitting there waiting. I mean, how do you not just give up? Well, in the
Okay. So,
book,
yeah,
like
I'm
I
actually,
talk about
I will
what do you
interject
do?
there. How do you teach a young person that needs to get their face out there and is so scared? What would you say to them? They need PR. What would you say to them?
I would first have a conversation about what is it that you're scared about? What is the root cause of that fear? Where is that coming from? And if we can find out what that root cause is and what's triggering you, then we can help you build healthy coping mechanisms to push past that and keep moving forward and recognizing that your fear is keeping you stuck, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to. Because I will openly admit this. I have done dozens of interviews in my life, dozens of speaking engagements in my life. I still feel anxiety. That's
Heck yeah.
normal. But
Yeah.
you don't have to let it stop you. And it comes down to what are your goals? What do you want out of life? How do you want to build this legacy of who you are, why you do what you do, why it matters, and how do you want to connect with your audience? Because at the end of the day, PR really is about storytelling and relationship building.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you exist. You're so needed because you're the expert in that thing, the thing, which is people. PPP, powerful publicity prescription. I love
Yeah.
that. The PPP method. I've just rebranded you. So on that note, I have a question for you. If you were to look in the mirror and your younger former self, a little girl, the little one that's in the mirror, I don't know, 5, 10, 12, 6 years old, what would you say? Knowing what you
I,
know today and what you've
yeah.
experienced.
I would say that stay the course because you will find your people. And when you find your people, don't be afraid to ask for help because it will come, but it will come when you're ready for it. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help and really celebrate being with your people because I have spent my life trying to find my people and trying to help my clients find their people
Yeah.
because that's really what it is about, right? That's how
Yeah.
you foster connections, you build relationships, and you end up being able to support each other and grow the right way. That is the heart of business, and
Yeah.
that is how it should be. It should be
Yeah.
community over competition.
Yeah. Yes. My God. And there's so much love around the world that there's enough love for everyone. Enough love for everyone. So Lillian, thank you so much for sharing the fact that you said stay the course and celebrate your people. Because sometimes I so feel you. Stay the course, celebrate your people. Because if you don't stay the course, you end up chopping and changing. You think you need new people. No, you don't. Stay the course and celebrate your people. And it will happen, like you said, when it's meant to happen. I love that you said that. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, the three P's, because it's
Yeah.
easier for me to say the powerful publicity prescription. The three P's. Your wisdom is like there's no other. You are definitely needed in the world. Thank you for being consistent in your game to gain the expertise to share with the rest of the world. So, on that note, I thank you. Bye for now.